I want from the outset to just give you an idea of the collaborative partnership that the government of Antigua has had with Digicel since Digicel came to Antigua and Barbuda. And it started with Darren Derrick when he was country manager, and it continued with John Delves, who is now in Trinidad. And I want to go on record to thank John Delves for spending what appeared to be 10 long months negotiating GATE with the Prime Minister and my technical team and myself, and subsequently negotiating it at the cabinet level. So Digicel has obviously come on board, and I want to say that without Digicel, many of the initiatives that we have tried in Antigua would not be the type of success that they have been. Because Mr. Corcoran made reference to the first project that we really tried with Digicel, and that is Technology for Communication, Education and Empowerment, which has resulted in 12 centers being opened up, the majority of them in secondary schools, but a few are in primary schools. We have just opened up, Minister Leandro would be very pleased, the facility at the Pigots Primary School. I believe Bendel's is 99% complete, and we're working assiduously to complete the one at the Cedar Grove Primary School. So that what we have in effect is 12 centers to complete a total of 32, with the previous 20 being commissioned by the government, leveraging on resources from the Consolidated Fund. And so today, we're here to launch GATE, and I dare say it's the gate to the future. And I want to say, without any reservation, that I want to thank Gerard Ashmore and Victor Corcoran, who is fairly new to Antigua, for agreeing to push this GATE project to its ultimate end. And today we're launching only one component, and the first component. Components 2 and 3 will be launched later on this year, perhaps in the month of October. And without Digicel's proactive involvement and investment in the future of Antigua and Barbuda, especially the young people, we could not make the type of progress we have been making. And so, at the risk of sounding Digicel biased this morning, I want to say to the Digicel executive team, you've done a great job negotiating with the government. We expect you to deliver on every part of the promises, and in return, government will work with you. We are confident that working together, we can make progress in Antigua and Barbuda. Government has been placing a premium on the intellectual value of people, and we are investing in our people. That has manifested itself, of course, in a number of ways. When we first put the Connect Antigua and Barbuda initiative to the cabinet in 2006, I believe, we promulgated a blueprint that would help Antigua and Barbuda to move forward. We recognized as a government that access to technology had this empowering potential, and we didn't want to empower any single or secular part of the society. We wanted to empower everyone. And so technology is a great engine for development, and is part of the fundamental support for improving the quality of life of all people. I want to say that in looking at technology, government is building a future with new opportunities. And on the GATE, we will assist in closing what I call the opportunity gap. On the GATE, Prime Minister, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, we will assist in closing the opportunity gap. We will help people acquire new opportunities and ensure that they are digitally included. It is no longer about just talk and talk, and it's no longer about technology just for young people. Under this opportunity imperative, GATE will convert imagined opportunity to opportunity that can be implemented. Part of being successful is knowing how to take advantage of opportunities. And I'm sure my colleagues will agree with me, and the Prime Minister will agree with me, and you will agree with me, that educating people is more than about just giving them access to facts. We are positioning our young people to become technopreneurs. Technopreneurs. In 2004, ladies and gentlemen, we recognized as a government that, like elsewhere in this part of the world, and certainly in the Caribbean, and certainly in Latin America, there was a digital divide. We knew where the barriers were. We knew there were barriers to accessing the super information highway, including the cost of broadband, including the cost of the hardware devices. But this time around, 7 to 8 years later, ladies and gentlemen, I caution you and say to you, you have a role to assist us in what I call the opportunity divide, so that we can convert that opportunity divide to opportunity provided. And GATE, I am 100% certain, will provide that opportunity. I will be very brief this morning. This is a very short ceremony. But I want to say to you that you also will have to help the government and help us to understand the landscape intelligence. Those of you who are familiar with Antigua and Barbuda, as I'm sure 99% of you are, will recognize that this is Devil's Bridge. This is one of the most majestic parts of Antigua and Barbuda, because on one side of the bridge there is the beautiful Atlantic Ocean. It tends to be rough. And on the other side, you still have the Atlantic Ocean, but it's a little bit calmer. And there is the famous Devil's Bridge, visited by thousands of tourists. But this, to me, represents why we have to understand the intelligence of the landscape. Because we are living in very difficult times, and we have an obligation to prepare every one of our citizens, whether you are in school or out of school, whether you have a job or you are looking for a job. We have a responsibility as a government to tell you that we are listening and trying to understand the intelligence of this landscape. And I believe we are making good progress. I know most of you may have come here this morning, and you will know a little bit more about GATE in a minute or two. But I want to say to you, without reservation, that technology is about leadership. Technology is not about making decisions for the next month. It is about making decisions beyond a 5-year period. And I want to say to you that I am lucky, and the cabinet members and the members of Parliament are lucky to have a visionary leader in the Honourable Prime Minister. Without the Prime Minister's overt support and understanding of what technology can do for a small country, we would not be where we are. We could not be making progress in 2012 that is marveled and studied by the Commonwealth Telecoms Organization, by the Caribbean Telecoms Union, by the United Nations digital platform called South-South News, by CARICOM, by the ECTEL ministers. I don't say this in a vainglorious way. I say that we have been lucky that we have had visionary leadership. And I want to say to the Prime Minister, and he does not like when I do this, that his visionary leadership in this regard has helped myself certainly, and of course the Cabinet, and most importantly, my team. And I want to go on record to say to the Prime Minister that his support and the support of the Cabinet for the visionary project we're launching today will change Antigua and Barbuda forever. I am nearly complete. Thank you very much. I want to say to all of you, especially the secondary school principals that might have joined us today, that when we speak about producing globally competitive citizens, there are some key skill sets that are required. And I'm not talking about producing globally competitive citizens that are currently being trained at high school or at the Antigua State College or at Abbott or Abyss or the Hospitality Training Institute or at the UWI school, the UWI Open Campus. I am talking about this ongoing process where we train our young people and those in the workforce to remain globally competitive, because we know that there are certain things that every work environment calls for. We know that you need skills specific to the job. The attitude towards work is important. Digital business skills have been identified in new studies done by Oxford University, done by the Organization of American States, where those skills are now even more important. Adult thinking, interpersonal and communications skills, social and cognitive skills, and very importantly, an understanding of international markets. And finally, and very importantly, is the ability to telecommute. Oxford studies and the work done by the Organization of American States, especially in Latin American countries, has shown that in the next 10 years, the majority of jobs that are being created will require the person to telecommute. There's not going to be a job when you show up and you work at your desk. You're going to be working from a device wherever you are, whether it be at home, at an office, at school, at church. So as I conclude my remarks, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say to you, GATE is about learning. We will have 4 distinct modules in GATE. Each of the cadets will be paid a stipend of $700 a month during the period of training. The training is expected to last 6 months. The training will be conducted in boot camp style, and you must be an Antiguan and Barbudan citizen, either by descent or birth or naturalization, to qualify for this program. Expect that each of the cadets will have sufficient exposure and such an intense hands-on training that we believe that they will either go on to pursue formal tertiary education or formal further education, or they will go on a pathway to self-entrepreneurship. We want these people to be able to go out there and find work, and we will be successful at it. And I want to say to you that our success, while we are announcing it early, will be clouded in the partnerships that we have been forging. We have forged partnerships with Digicel on this, and I'm pleased to announce that we have had major discussions with the Gilbert's Agricultural and Rural Development Center, the GARD Center. I see Ms. Roberta Williams in the audience. And they have certain skill sets that they are good at, life skill sets, math, English. So we will reserve a portion of this program for GATE, on the GATE with GARD, and we will collaborate so that those individuals who have not completed high school, who wish to enroll in GATE, will have an opportunity to apply to enroll in GATE through the GARD Center, where there are other skills that these young people can get. I have also been very fortunate to have a team at the Ministry of Information that is highly motivated, and I want everybody who works at the Ministry of Information and who is in this auditorium to please stand. I acknowledge you. Please stand. And I thank you for your hard work. Everybody who works in the Ministry of Information and who's here. Thank you very much. Thank you.